Okay, so always look for the 2 points and then draw the line. So we'll do another one like this. Let's do y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Even in this situation, even though there's a better way to do it, I can come up with 2 points by putting in 0 in for my x. I would get y equals 0 plus 2, so y must equal 2. And I can put a 0 in for my y. 0 equals 1/2 x plus 2. That means 1/2 x equals -2. I'm just bringing that over. Multiply both sides by 2. X equals -4. This is just, now I've got my 2 points. I've got 0, 2, and -4, 0. And I would simply plot them on a graph now. So 0, 2, -4, 0. Draw my line, and I'm done. So for doing these, you can use the slope-intercept stuff, but what you need to remember is that you can always graph a line with 2 points. Get 2 points, graph it. Now to quickly go over graphing lines using slope-intercept form, what we would do is, remember this is the slope and this is the y-intercept. Because you have y equals mx plus b, where this is always your slope and this is always your y-intercept. Remember that slope is your rise over your run, also your change in y over your change in x. Delta always means change in math. So we can think about it either way, your rise over your run or your change in y over your change in x. And then this is your y-intercept. And of course, when we see y-intercept, we should actually think of the point 0, 2. So we already have 1 point. There it is. There's our point that we have. We have the point 0, 2. There it is. Now our rise over our run means it's going to go up 1 for every 2 it runs. So it's going to go up 1 and run 2. There it is. Done. I'm more than willing to go into depth on this. In fact, next week we'll be doing a lot more line stuff, so you'll get a lot more of this next week. If you're having questions or problems, just keep working through it. It will get better. So now from 23 to the end of the lesson of 34, you're going to be doing making lines. And so we want to write the slope-intercept form of the equation. You might want to look at your packet and just look at the directions. It says write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line given the slope and y-intercept. Well, if y equals mx plus b is slope-intercept form, that's the form we want our lines in. M equals our slope, b is our y-intercept. So if we get a problem like slope is -1/4 and the y-intercept is 1, we simply plug those in. Y equals -1/4, x plus 1, and we're done. Those should be ridiculously easy. Okay, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to find the slope-intercept form of an equation given a point and the slope. So we still want slope-intercept form. But now we're going to have a point, -3, -5, and slope of 5/3. So here's a point that's on the line. Here's the slope of the line. So what we do first is we say, okay, y equals 5/3 x plus b. Why did I do that? Because this is always a slope. They gave us a slope. I'll go ahead and put that in. Now we need to find our y-intercept. We find our y-intercept by replacing the x and the y value with this x and y value. So this is my x value, it goes into my x. This is my y value, it goes into my y. -5 equals 5/3 times -3 plus b. -5 equals -5 plus b. My b must be 0. So that, of course, means that my equation is just y equals 5/3 x. It's always going to be the same process. Put the slope into the equation, substitute in your x and y that you know, solve for b, and then rewrite your equation. Again, let's do another one. Let's go through -2, -3 with a slope of -1. So I'm going to go ahead and write it. I have y equals mx plus b. So that means y equals negative 1x plus b, because my slope is negative 1. Now I'm going to replace this into my x value and this into my y value. That's going to give me negative 3 equals negative 1 times negative 2 plus b. Negative 3 equals 2 plus b. B equals negative 5. So then I have y equals negative x minus 5. Because negative 1x, I could say negative 1x here, but that's the same thing as saying y equals negative x minus 5. Either way is fine. So that's how you do it when you're given a point and the slope. Now, the last one, the last four rely on you understanding what it means to be parallel and perpendicular. Parallel lines means same slope. Perpendicular means the opposite reciprocal. Okay? So when we have something like this, we're going through negative 5, 3, and it's going to be perpendicular to y equals 5, 6, x plus 2. What this means right here is we've got to use this equation to get the slope. And the perpendicular one is a negative reciprocal. So we're going to take the slope of this line. The slope of this line is 5, 6. That means the perpendicular slope to that would be negative 6/5. I make it negative, so positive 5, 6 becomes negative 6/5. Then I go ahead and start the process. Y equals mx plus b. That means y equals negative 6/5 x plus b. And now what do? I take my y value and put it in for my y. I take my x value and put it in for my x, and then I solve for b. It'll always be the same process over and over. Let's do another one of those. So if we're going through the point 3, 3, and we're perpendicular to y equals negative 3/2 x plus 1, I'm going to use this equation to get my slope. My slope here is negative 3/2, which means the perpendicular slope to that will be 2/3. Because the opposite of a negative is a positive, and then we flip it over 2/3. So I get y equals 2/3 x plus b, and how I figure this out from here is I take my y value and put it in for my y, I take my x value and put it in for my x, and I solve for b. So I get 3 equals 2/3 times 3 plus b. 3 equals 2 plus b. b equals 1. So I get y equals 2/3 x plus 1. Now, I just realized that in the last four problems, we're wanting these in standard form. So standard form works slightly different. There are a few rules to standard form. If you have something in slope-intercept form, you can get it into standard pretty quickly. First rule, no denominators. Okay, and then second rule, front coefficient is positive. So in this situation, if I started off with, let's just go with y equals negative 3/2 x plus 1. If I start with this, I've got to get rid of this denominator first. And I do that by multiplying everything by 2. So I get 2y equals negative 3x plus 2. Then I've got to bring my x over. That gives me 3x minus 2y equals 2. My x and y are in the same sign. I have my 2 over here. This is standard form. If you're having trouble getting them into standard form, we'll cover that some more next week, but at least gives you something to start with. And that covers Thursday and Friday's work.